would you like to say something about Lion Nagaraju?
Yeah, sure. Lal Nagaraju is a faculty development excellence series graduate, a wonderful trainer, a wonderful friend, and like me, he is also the I'm the multiple, but he's a district GLT coordinator for District 320D. For non-Lions, this may mean something they may not understand, but that's the hierarchy of Lions International. Various clubs and areas are divided, and he's leading the global leadership team of District 320D. He also has been a Lion like me for more than 35 years. And the one point which brings us both together, that we keep on competing. I would ask him, Nagaraju, how many times have you donated blood? And he will ask me, Rajesh, you tell me. So last time I said I've reached 102. He said, Rajesh, I'm 72 only so far, but you have a heavier body, you can donate more. So bringing to you a very dear friend, again a friend from whom I have learned a lot, and I always go to his. Uh, I ask him and request him to contribute in my trainings, in my growth as well. So the mic is yours, Lai Nagaraju. Thank you so much.
Can I have the control to share the screen?
Yeah, Anand?
Yes, so you are the presenter. You can upload your PPT. You are the presenter.
So if just transfer the control to me, I'll.
Sorry,
It's been done. It's been done, sir.
He's using
You can just upload your PPT. You can share your screen and click on the show. Yes, there you go, sir. We see your presentation. Just go to the show mode and just open the PPT and we are good to go. Absolutely, sir. Thank you very, very much. Looking forward to have an amazing session with Lion Nagaraju.
Good evening, everybody. Right since morning, perhaps you have been listening to speaker after speaker and learning lots of new things. And I must congratulate Lion Rajesh Mehra, Anand Mehta, and their entire team for this wonderful initiative they have taken to bring this opportunity to all of us. It's quite amazing to know that there are participants from more than 15, 16 countries. That's a tremendous, mighty achievement for the organizers. I heartily congratulate them and start from there. So since morning, almost every one of the speakers has touched upon our strengths and the need to reflect, the need to do some kind of self-analysis, introspect, know ourselves. All these terms have been very frequently used. In fact, Monica asked you to list some of your strengths, and you listed quite a few very interesting strengths of yours. So I'm very happy that you have done that. So let's move on. Let's just take a look at what this SWOT analysis is, and then quickly move on to why do we do this. And finally, let's spend much more time on how do we do this. SWOT stands for, I think all of you know already, the 4 letters are an acronym, and the letters stand for strengths, W stands for weaknesses, O stands for opportunities, and T stands for threats. Some people call it SWOC analysis, SWOC analysis, instead of SWOT analysis. And when they call it SWOC analysis, the letter C stands for challenges instead of threats. There is very little difference between them, so we will use them interchangeably. So if I call them threats or challenges, please do not take them very seriously today. Think for a moment that they are just the same. What is a strength? I think some people, while I was listening to Ruchita, when Monica asked you that question, the list was read out. You mistook some accomplishments as your strengths. Of course, you talked about determination, sincerity, then dedication, your happy smile on your face, all such things, and a lot of others. I just would like to tell you that a strength is always internal. It's within you. If you're talking for yourself, and if there is some factor that you possess already, and if you have it, that's your strength. If you're talking about your club, Alliance Club, something that is there in the club collectively, so all the strengths of all the members together, right, and a lot more, so they are the strengths of the club. If you're talking about India, all the good things about India, all the strengths of India are being considered. So we are talking about individual SWOT today. So personally, what is there inside you already? What is it that you already have? So it's a resource. It's internal, and most importantly, the third quality is it's something that is going to help you to achieve your goals. If you say you are sincere, and if your sincerity helps you achieve your goals, then it becomes your strength. If you have a lot of money, and that's a resource that you have, and if that money is engaged in achieving a goal that you have set for yourself, that becomes your strength. If you have half a dozen friends, and if these friends help you achieve your goal, and because these friends are already there with you, then it becomes a strength. Let's quickly move on to see what a weakness is. A weakness is the opposite of a strength. A weakness also is inside you. It's not something external. It's not an outside factor. It's a factor that's there inside you. But this factor, instead of allowing you to achieve your goals, it is preventing you. It's standing as a barrier. It's standing as a wall between you and your goals. So something that is preventing you from achieving your goals and standing like a wall in between is a weakness. So if there is a quality in you, or if there is a lack of resource in you, for instance, diffidence. So if you are diffident, opposite of confident, if you are diffident and you think you cannot achieve something, you're shy of doing something, or you do not have a certain ability, and because of that, you're not able to achieve what you want to achieve, that is a weakness. Let's move on to see what an opportunity is. Strengths and weaknesses, I told you, are inside you. They are resources or lack of resources, but you are responsible for them. That's there inside you. But opportunity is outside. Usually, you do not have much control over that. It is a situation which is external, and it gives you a competitive advantage, but there is a condition there. The condition is only if you leverage that, if you properly use that. Opportunities are opportunities only if we utilize them. Somebody was asking earlier a question, if I do not get opportunity, what should I do? I think during Monica's session, somebody asked that question. So opportunities are there for everybody. We need to utilize them. Opportunities need to be created by ourselves, and they are all around. The world is full of opportunities for everybody. So in case there is an opportunity, and if this opportunity gives us a competitive advantage over others, and this external situation is manipulated by us in such a way that it becomes a great advantage to us, then it is an opportunity. Finally, a threat. Again, a threat is an external situation. It's not within you. You are not responsible for that. You have very little control over that. It is something outside, and it can damage the scope of your achieving your objectives. So you have some goals and you're not able to achieve your goals because there are threats outside in the external world, situations which are, you are not responsible for them, but situations that can stop you from achieving what you wish to achieve in your life. So to conclude, strengths and weaknesses are within you. Opportunities and threats are outside you. And one more aspect, strengths and opportunities are positive factors. Weaknesses and threats are negative factors. Strengths and opportunities help you, but weaknesses and threats harm you. So consider all these four things and let us see what is an analysis of these four things. So we are not talking about SWOT, but we are talking about SWOT analysis. I call this lesson a session on personal SWOT for Lion members, a SWOT analysis. So SWOT analysis is a tool, a very wonderful, useful, productive tool if used properly. What does this tool do? This tool helps us evaluate ourselves. So if we not to weigh ourselves, evaluate ourselves, know ourselves, all those words that have been used since morning, look within, discover yourself, evaluate yourself, know thyself, all these expressions that have been seen. So to evaluate your internal strengths and your internal weaknesses, and the external opportunities and the external threats. Why? For a better decision making and for a competitive advantage. If you do that, that becomes a tool. So SWOT analysis is a tool that helps us evaluate ourselves. Because we are talking of personal SWOT analysis today, so we are going to use it as a tool to evaluate ourselves as Lion members, right? And in case you do the same SWOT analysis for an organization, you take into consideration the strengths and weaknesses of that whole organization and the opportunities that organization has outside and the threats that that organization has, and that's a different perspective. So we are not going to talk about that today. We are going to talk about personal SWOT analysis. So the second aspect that I want to talk to you about is why do we this SWOT analysis? Maybe you already know the answer because in the previous slide, I just made a suggestion of what it can be used for. Knowing these four things, does it help us? So when you know what your strengths are, it's not enough. There must be a strategy to help us capitalize on our strengths. Suppose I speak well, and that's one of my strengths. If I don't capitalize on that, my strength remains unawakened, unused, unutilized. So I must have a strategy to capitalize on my strengths, to exploit my strengths, to benefit my strengths. So it's not only just knowing my strengths, but going beyond that. Knowing for the purpose of capitalizing on them. If I know what I do good, if I know what I am great at, if I know what my strengths are, from there my success begins if I capitalize on them. And the second reason why we do this analysis is it helps us overcome our weaknesses. Okay, there are some weaknesses. Everybody has some weakness or the other. But these weaknesses should not remain as they are. They must be encountered. They must be overcome. They must be defeated. So again, I need to prepare a strategy so that I overcome my weaknesses. So that's another advantage. That's why I do a SWOT analysis of myself. So if I'm a Lion member, again, I'll come to some examples specific to Lion members. So how do I overcome my weaknesses from the perspective of Lionism and my role in Lionism? Right. Okay. Suppose I have some opportunities outside me. I told you already, they are external. So what do I do with these external opportunities? I must exploit them. I must be on the lookout for the opportunities. I must be able to utilize those opportunities and be awake to them, be ready to accept those opportunities. So exploit the opportunities. And then SWOT analysis prepares us to survive the possible threats. There are likely to be some threats externally. I told you already, have a little control over them. So maybe I can manipulate my situation. I can manipulate some external situations so that I can survive the threats. Since morning, we also have lots of examples about coronavirus, which is a threat to our society, even to lionism in a way, and how we need to survive that threat is a strategy that we need to prepare. And that is one advantage of having a SWOT analysis of ourselves. In addition to these things, SWOT analysis helps us be proactive. Proactive is the opposite of reactive. So instead of starting taking a decision after the event, so if we take a decision about something proactively before the situation arises, before the demand occurs, before the opportunity opens up itself for us, I think that's a wonderful thing that we can do. So SWOT analysis helps us be proactive. And finally, and most importantly, a good SWOT analysis helps us take better decisions. Our decisions will be more mature, more perfect, more scientific, more reasonable, more rational, and our decisions will help us achieve success. So these are the 6 advantages that we have after doing a very good SWOT analysis of ourselves, and that's why we are going to attempt this. Okay, let's move on to the last part of my presentation, which is my focus actually. So we now know what are strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. We also know why we attempt an analysis of our SWOT, and let's see how we need to do this. Okay, so one of the easiest things that we can do to know our strengths is answering the 6 questions that I have on the screen. I'll read them out for you slowly and please follow with me. What are your unique skills and qualifications? Right? So, and alone, all that I'm going to tell you today is in the context of our being members of Lions Clubs. So what are some unique skills? What are unique skills? Only you have them. Maybe the other members do not have them. Maybe other clubs do not have them. Maybe others do not have them. So you have something unique. Only you have that. Right? If there is a skill that only you have, that's a great strength that you have. Similarly, in non-lion context or even lion context, a qualification. In qualification can be a position. You are already a governor, you are already an international director, you are already a zone chairperson, you have already been a president. So some position that you have held. So already you are distinguished by that. So if you held an important position and that gave you occasions, opportunities to show your strengths, I think you can rely on them. What are your unique skills and unique qualifications? They are your strengths. The second question that will help you know your strengths is, what do you do better than anybody else? Come to a Lions Club situation. Suppose you have the ability to organize a blood donation camp like nobody else. There are maybe 50 members in your club, but when you talk about a blood donation camp, you are right there and then you can go, you can convince students, you have that ability and right, and you can organize a camp, you know who can organize that camp, how to do a camp, what precautions to take, what efforts to make, what arrangements to make, right? How to treat a donor before donation, after donation, right? How to invite the team, all these things you already know, and you organize camp very, very well, and nobody perhaps in your club can do as good as you do, and that's why that's your strength, right? Then the third question that will help you know your strengths is, what unique resources can you access? Are there any resources perhaps others do not have access to, but you have? You know 10 doctors in your town. That's a great strength, right? And you have physical resources with you. You have friends, you have a team, you have an ability to resolve issues, right? You are very good at conflict resolution. So you have mental, intellectual, physical, spiritual resources that you can always rely on and that come to your rescue, and you've already proven yourself in that, and that's why they are your resources. So if you can lay your hand on them and if you can access them, that are your strengths. Maybe the fourth one is a very important and easy tip that I have for you. Just look back, think to yourself, have people praised you for something? If half a dozen people have praised you for something that you have done, that automatically must be a strength. If somebody told you, oh, you do this very well, your English is very good. Suppose half a dozen people tell you that your English is very good. That means you have good command over English language. That could be a strength, right? So you have good presentation skills. If people tell you constantly, not just one person, but quite a few people tell you, oh, your presentations are always lively. They're very active, they're very good. So that means that you have a strength there. So people praising you is a simple tool to help you understand your strength. So ask yourself, what are a few things that people have praised me for? Then finally, if there are any achievements that you're proud of, some values that you very strongly believe in. People talked about sincerity, dedication, and other things in the morning. And those values, if you firmly believe in them, and if you think that they are your life values, you would like to stand by them come what may, I think these are your strengths. So now I have a small exercise for you. I would like you to take 1 or 2 minutes and consider, very important, don't give the kind of examples that you gave in the evening. I'm not looking for that sincerity and dedication again. I would like you to think for a moment and give me 1 or 2 strengths of yours in the context of the position that you are going to hold. Maybe you are going to become president next year. Maybe you are going to be a district governor next year. Maybe you are going to get some very important assignment. Somebody is going to become a GLT next year. So if there is something in you already that is going to help you achieve your goals during the year 2020-21, please write that in the question box.
May I read the answers to you?
Yeah, please.
It's technical savvy, rapport among district lions, active listening, teamwork, team building, good organizer, organizational capacity, hardworking and sincere, sharing the knowledge with all possible, leadership courses attended, listener, I think must be listener and teacher,
Good listener.
delegation, district GST coordinator, teamwork, knowledge expert, media and marketing, patience, commitment,
Wonderful.
motivator.
That's a
Right.
very good list. Abilities, qualities, strengths, and so on. But now I asked you to consider them in the context of the position that you are going to accept in the year 2020. For instance, somebody said you are a good team builder. So what are you going to be next year? Are you going to be a zone chairperson? If you are a zone chairperson, your team building skills, will they come to your rescue? Will they help you? How are you going to use them? So you must have a strategy there. If you are going to be a president, how is any one of the strengths that you've listed going to help you? So start working now. Your assumption of office is going to happen within another 2 months. So by July 1st, you must have a strategy. What is that strategy? So first thing, you will identify, discover your strengths, make a list of them, and correlate them with the duties that you are going to perform when you accept the responsibility on July 1st. Suppose you are going to become a region chairperson. Which of these strengths that you already have are going to correlate with the duties and responsibilities that you are going to have as the region chairperson next year? So start building those strengths further, right? So that they'll come to your rescue next year when you accept that position. So this will help you. I mean, this analysis will certainly help you in case you go methodically like that. So two things I have told you so far. One, identify your strengths and do this very carefully. Don't overrate yourself. Don't underrate yourself. I gave you 6 questions. Ask yourself these questions quite objectively. And if you get the answers to those questions, whatever answers you get to those questions are your strengths. And among those strengths, identify or make a short list of them which are going to help you as a certain officer in Lions Club. Maybe there are 100 other strengths that will help you in your business, that will help you in your family, that will help you do whatever you are doing outside. I am today talking about your strengths as a lion. So I think you have already given me a good list of them. These strengths that you've identified should be employed, right? Should be used to achieve the goals that you've set for yourself. Also identify the goals that you've set for yourself as a zone chairman, region chairman, president, whatever, and every one of the strengths must be utilized to achieve that. That's the objective. Okay. So the next set of questions that I have, which are a little harder to ask yourself, and unless we are really very objective, unless we are very, very harsh to ourselves, it's not easy like strengths to identify our weakness. But anyway, the questions are, what skills do you lack? Is there a skill that you need but do not have? Is there some knowledge that you still do not possess? If you are going to be a zone chairperson, have you read the zone chairperson's manual already? Or if not the manual, at least have you identified the things that a zone chairman requires? So what knowledge do you have about that position? Are you going to become a zone chairperson without knowing what a zone chairman's role demands? No, that will take you nowhere. So the position that you are going to accept demands certain knowledge and certain skills. If you are going to be the GLT of your district, you yourself should ideally be a good public speaker, a good trainer. So in case I do not have training skills, what do I do? We'll go to about that later. But for the time being, I'm asking you to ask yourself this question and identify, discover, analyze what skills do you lack, you do not have. And the second question that you can ask yourself is, what skills could I improve? I have the skill, but I do not have it sufficiently perfectly. It's not quite effective yet. I can do this, right? But I need to improve upon that. I need to build on that further. So identify that second list of skills also. Skills that you do not have and skills that you have, but that not absolutely perfectly. Then the third question that you need to ask yourself is, what do you avoid doing? This tells you, this gives you an idea of what are the areas in which you have developed weaknesses. So is there something that you lack and something that you avoid doing? What is it that you have never taken much interest in, and whenever even opportunities came to you, you avoid them because you thought that you could not do them? Diffidence. What do others tell you as your weaknesses? And to answer this question, your family is your best guide. And even among the family members, your children are your best guide. Your children always tell you what are a few things that you don't do well. Dad, you don't do this well. Mom, you are bad at it. So they are frank and they are unabashed about that. And they tell you frankly in the face, Dad, you don't do this well. So don't get offended by that. So they are reflecting. They are working like a mirror to you. And that's a great source of information for you. So in case there is something that you are avoiding and somebody has told you that you lack some quality, ability, that is your weakness. And what resources that you do not have. For instance, you become the secretary of a club and you do not know how to use my LCI because you are not technology savvy. So that will be a great disappointment to everybody and most importantly to yourself. You should not accept that position if you do not know how to file the PU101, how to file the monthly reports. So if you are deficient in something, some resource, again, that is one of your weaknesses. And what are your negative work habits? I know people who always come late to the meetings, who don't organize themselves, right? Who manage things very badly, who are very poor team builders. They have negative work habits, right? They don't organize themselves, organize their team. Somebody was talking about that in the morning. So you must be good at all these things, and then you are not. That's why they are your negative work habits and they are your weaknesses. So again, let's take 1 or 2 minutes of your time. I don't think I am doing justice by asking you to list out your weaknesses in 1 minute or 2 minutes. This exercise needs a lot of time. Maybe you need to do after the session. Maybe it needs a full day for you to do that. But maybe some of you, if you have given any thought to this idea, think of 1 or 2 weaknesses, again, from the point of the position that you are going to accept next year, July onwards. So what position you are going to take up, what resource you lack, what ability you do not have, what stops you from doing something that you need to do. Ask yourself that question and please give some answers.
Well, we already have a few answers. One is
Good,
nagging,
that's good, that's great. Oh.
procrastination, laziness,
Mhm.
workaholic, say no. To say no is my weakness. I didn't understand
Okay.
saying no or not saying no. Short temper,
Mhm.
fear, listening skills are weak, emotional and easily trusts others, weakness in convincing members, delaying, fear, perfectionist, saying no to anybody. That's it.
Okay, that's great. That's a wonderful list, but most of these weaknesses are general in nature. Perhaps, as I told you already, the time that I've given you is not enough to help you assess your weaknesses in the context of lionism. So I asked you to be very specific about the role that you're going to play, the responsibility that you're going to get, the duties that you need to perform as a certain officer at any level, club level, district level, whatever. And if you identify the weaknesses, it gives you a great opportunity to start building on them and then overcoming them. So please do that later. So that take that up as home assignment and please do that. There are a few things that you said like perfectionism, right? That kind of things which can be strengths for somebody and weaknesses for somebody. So we'll not go into those complex things at this stage, and we'll just see. So you consider that something is your weakness, so start building on that. I mean, overcoming that. Okay. So going on to these are some helpful tips that I'd like to give you on how you can overcome your weaknesses. So I already told you that you need to discover them. Discovery is possible if you ask yourself those 6 questions, and you have to take a firm determination to fight those weaknesses. You must tell yourself, I am not going to stop here. I'm not going to be content with what I am. I'm not going to accept these weaknesses. I am going to make every effort, right, turn every brick to ensure that I overcome my weaknesses. So that kind of firm, strong determination and iron will is very, very essential to overcome weaknesses. So, wow, right? That's, you take it for yourself and you need not even tell anybody what you're going to do to overcome your weaknesses. So think positive, believe that you can do it, and not just beliefs. Don't stop with thinking and believing, but act, right? And whenever you make some small progress, whenever you make small achievements, whenever you overcome one step on the ladder of fighting these weaknesses, congratulate yourself. So pat on your back, celebrate, right? Enjoy yourself, and then do something to yourself so that you feel happy and proud of the small achievements that you've made. And don't stop in the middle, persist, continue your efforts till you conquer, right? Every weakness must be overcome. So the third thing that I want to talk to you about today is the opportunities. And I told you already that opportunities are outside you. You have limited control over them. You are not responsible for them, but they evolve, they develop, they are there around you. So it depends on how you utilize those opportunities. So what are a few questions that you can ask yourself to find out your opportunities? The first question is that will help you is, what opportunities to learn are open? I want to be a knowledgeable zone chairperson, but what opportunities are there for me to learn? For instance, today it's an opportunity. And I don't know how many of you know, there is something called Lions Learning Center. And there are 25 courses on that. Each course is a precious gem, right? I'm 100% sure that anyone who does any one of these courses will stand to gain not only as a lion, but in life. So very well structured, so very beautifully designed. I think Lions Clubs International must have spent millions of dollars on creating those wonderful programs for us. So please go to Lions Learning Center and identify some courses. And maybe by the time this lockdown is lifted, I think you can finish all those 25 courses. I have some friends who have done that in the last 1 week, 10 days, 15 days. Right. So what situations can you take advantage of? There are things developing outside. So can you take advantage of any of them? Corona is the best example. So new service opportunities have evolved because of Corona, right? And the kind of service activities that we have been all these days doing perhaps have to be set aside. And because there is an opportunity now, starting like something very simple, maybe distribution of masks is a new service opportunity, right? So there is a situation outside. I need to take advantage of that as a lion. And if I am going to become something next year, suppose I'm going to head as the president of the club next year. So what service opportunity, what administrative opportunities for me, what leadership opportunities are for me? Are there any situations that I can take advantage of? Then the third thing, again, very important, essential, easy, and often ignored. Do you have people to advise me, to help me in my own club, outside my club, right? Some senior members, some senior leaders. I was a cabinet secretary, I was a cabinet treasurer, I was a region chairperson. I know there are lots of people who don't ask you, maybe because of diffidence or because of shyness, or maybe they just ignore it or whatever. But support is available many times for the asking. So if I ask somebody, somebody will certainly come to my rescue. In my own club, there is plenty of wisdom, plenty of experience. My past presidents, my past region chairpersons, my past zone chairperson are a source of strength for me, and that's an opportunity for me. So in case I have to identify the people who can help me, right? And the fourth question that I can ask myself is, have you any solutions to others' complaints? Some other club has a problem, but I have a solution. Some other lion has a problem, but I have a solution. Some other organization has a problem, but I have a solution. I think there is a wonderful opportunity there. Some other club is struggling to do something which I can do. So that's an opportunity for me to prove myself. So don't limit yourself to the small line that you've drawn for yourself, and don't think you need to work within that very well. No. So you can go reach beyond yourself. There are opportunities around you. And finally, is there an unfilled need around you? There is something called community needs analysis. I don't know how many of you know this. The International has designed a beautiful tool to help individuals, lions, clubs, etc., to identify community needs. So a study of the community needs tells us what are the unfulfilled needs. What does the community need? Does it need a bus shelter? Does it need a diabetes screening camp? Does it need masks? So what does the community need? First identify them, and there is your opportunity. If the community needs a bus shelter, that's your opportunity. So you can start working there. So that is a list of, maybe you can avoid this now, perhaps you can do it later again. So you can make a list of the opportunities that are available around. If you open your eyes, if you see clearly, if you start discovering, and if you start analyzing the needs of the community, I think you can identify the lots and lots and lots of opportunities that we have I'll just give you one instance. The International has identified 5 global focus areas. How did the International do that? For instance, very recently, about 2 years ago, they introduced one more global focus area, childhood cancer. Some years ago, they added diabetes. Why did they do that? Because there was an opportunity. The opportunity existed in the community and Lions could respond to that, and Lions had a wonderful opportunity that needed to be addressed. And that's why after a lot of research again, after a lot of funding for research, International identified some global focus areas. Maybe similarly, your governor is doing, maybe your club president is doing, and maybe many other people are doing. Again, another example. Why are Rajesh and Anand and Ruchita and others doing it today? So this is an opportunity readily available to us. Corona is there, lockdown is there, and the time for preparing the next teams, right? And so many other factors. So this was the opportunity that they saw. They stood up and then they utilized the opportunity that came to them. So that's why. So you need to start studying the opportunities. So knowing the opportunities is not enough. There are people who have lots of opportunities, but they don't know how to use them. Somebody asked that question in the evening. So, sir, I don't have any opportunities. What should I do? That was the question. So opportunities are there for everybody, but if you don't know how to use them, they lie useless like this. Right? The same, suppose there are 10 Lions clubs in your town, and one Lions club does 10 blood donation camps, and there is some other club which is not able to do even one blood donation camp. And can you still argue that there is no opportunity? Right? One Lions club at their own level does a small leadership program, goes to a school, and then organizes a leadership promotion, development, awareness activity. In our district, we have done lots of them, and some other club does not see that opportunity. What can we do? So, of course, every one, provided one is willing to see outside, there are opportunities, and opportunities can be created for yourselves. Okay, let's leave it at that. Let's go on to the last one, the threats. Threats, again, I told you, they are outside. You have limited control over them. You are not responsible for them. You did not create them, but perhaps you can overcome them by approaching them appropriately. Right. If you have a good strategy. Okay, so what are a few questions that you can ask yourself to know your threats? What obstacles do you currently face? Sir, I want to become the club president, but I cannot speak. At least, I mean, every year I find at least 10 presidents saying that to me. Sir, I wanted to become a president, but I cannot stand in front of a small gathering and then I cannot speak. That means there is an ability that is lacking in you. That's your weakness. But if that is preventing you from becoming something, right? Of course, your weakness is within you, but there is some obstacle. Somebody has demanded that. The society, environment, economics, politics, global policies, national policies, there are things that are standing in your way of achieving what you want to achieve, right? So such obstacles, are you facing any of them? If, for instance, somebody says, sir, I wanted to do lots of service activities, but because of Corona, I'm not able to go out and do that. So he's seeing an obstacle there. Somebody else sees an opportunity there. So because of Corona, I have this service opportunity. So what is a threat to somebody becomes an opportunity to someone else. I think you understand that. Okay. What are other clubs doing? Right? So if the threat is the same, if somebody else is doing, that means for them it is not a threat. So I also can approach similarly, and that also will no longer be a threat to me. So what are the other clubs doing is an important way of identifying the threats and how to overcome them. Is the demand for your strengths declining? You have some strength, but gradually that is not in demand. That's slowing. Something else is in demand. Think of all the kinds of service activities that are no longer done. I am a member for 36 years. So when I joined, the kind of service activities that were taken up by Lions clubs were completely different from, or maybe mostly different from, the kind of things that we are doing today. So maybe those service activities perhaps are no longer relevant. I used to send an report on paper and I had to typewrite them using a carbon paper and all that. That's no longer necessary. So that is no longer relevant. So are there any things that I need to identify which are no longer needed? My strengths, perhaps they were strengths then, but they are no longer in demand. And finally, what threats arise because of your weakness? I was talking about your inability to speak to your gathering. That's your weakness, okay. But because of that weakness, are you not able to accept a position or rise or do something? So that is a threat. Because of your diffidence, you are not able to do something. So that opportunity is lost. That has become a threat. Okay, again, do this exercise also at home later. This is homework for you. So identify some threats which social, political, psychological, right, and then global, right, economic issues that are standing as a threat to you. Identify them and then make a list of them and also have a strategy to overcome them. So before I close, let me tell you a few things that I thought might help you not only just perform an analysis, but utilize that. So ships in harbor are safe, but ships are not built to be positioned there. So just because it's safe, we cannot keep it there. The ship has to go out into the waters, face turbulence, and carry its cargo, carry people, or whatever it's supposed to do. So a ship is built for that. So similarly, if you have become a Lion member and if you accept a responsibility, so it's not just to be safe, but to accept challenges, right? Rise to the occasion, meet the needs of the community, meet the expectations of your club, and do everything that is expected of you. That's what you are there for. Otherwise, there's no point in becoming a president or a zone chairperson or whatever and just ignoring your responsibilities because of any one of these reasons. So if you need strengths, build them. If you have some weaknesses, overcome them. If you have an opportunity, grab that. And if there are some threats, find a good strategy to overcome them. Every threat is some kind of an opportunity in disguise, provided we know how to tackle that. Right? We have just seen one example of corona, and similarly, many threats are actually opportunities, provided we know how to tackle them. Every threat is an opportunity in disguise. Do it, but don't quit. Okay, finally, so when you do this SWOT analysis, be rigorous and be objective. So when you take an examination, it must be an objective test, not subjective. So not the personal element coming in. So be rigorous, be harsh to yourself. Ask yourself if these are your real strengths, if you are really good at them. Don't overrate yourself. And similarly, be harsh when you ask yourself about your weaknesses. Don't overrate yourself again here also, or don't underrate yourself. Identify the opportunities and threats around you. View them properly. View them from all perspectives. Right? All the questions that I gave you to identify those 4 factors will help you look at them from multiple perspectives. So strengths, for instance, not only my assessment, but what others told me. And similarly, other things also. So be realistic, be very specific, and use only verifiable data, verifiable facts. And after you've identified them, prioritize what is most important to be achieved first, what is most important to be answered first? What are a few things that I need to address first? Such things, prioritize and start working on them. If you have any questions perhaps I think we have about 4 or 5 minutes. Perhaps I would like to answer them.
Yes, surely. A very powerful note to end on by saying that ships are built to sail. Thank you for a wonderful session. And to the questions, how do talent and strength differ?
A talent, I think this question was answered already in the evening. Somebody asked the same question. A talent is an ability to do something, right? A strength is an internal resource.
Well, the next one is not a question, but a compliment. I have not read many of those today, but this is something different. It says, killer smile as usual. Right. The next
Thank you
question.
very much.
So very common and important question asked by everyone about strength and weaknesses. How to apply to this? Reply to this.
Will you please read the question again, Ruchita?
Uh, strength and weaknesses. Common important question is strength and weaknesses. What about it is not mentioned. They just say the most common question asked is about strength and weaknesses.
Yes. So usually, I mean, in case you go to face an interview or if people are talking to you, usually they ask you about your strengths and weaknesses. And because they are, as I told you already, internally, so these are things that can be talked about easily. And to know opportunities and threats, you need to look outside and maybe reading the newspaper, watching the television, talking to people, and following the developments around the world give you an idea of what opportunities and threats are.
Right. There was one question, and this was asked before actually you addressed it in your presentation, is how to overcome weaknesses. So I guess that has already been addressed by you.
Yeah, we had
So,
one slide on that. The easiest is to
sure.
identify them, and after you identify, have a strategy to overcome them.
That's all for questions, and over to you, Line Rajesh.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Rajesh ji. Thank you, Anand ji. Thank you, Rujita ji, and all the panelists. And most importantly, every one of you who have participated in this program. And thank you very much for your attention. And you can write to me in case you have any comments or questions at my email address line nagaraju@gmail.com. I'll certainly take time to respond to them at my earliest convenience. Thank you once again. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Nagaraju. It was really great to listen to you once again, and thank you for the kind cooperation and accepting our invitation and making it very interactive session for all the participants. I'm sure all of them have gained a lot of knowledge, and look forward to your further communication with them. Thank you very much once again, sir. God bless you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.